All right, so we're going to do case 3 in Module 7. It starts on page 459 and goes to 461. And this is Module 7. This is something that's due, but not due until after spring break. So let's go to Module 7 data files, case 3, and let's fire up the chairs.xlsx workbook. And an author, obviously, the documentation tab, we'll put our name and a date. I'll just use the today function. So it's kind of similar to the case that we did in Module 7 for the tutorial, but a little bit different. So let's see if you guys can recall how we do some things. So the first thing we want to do is we're working on an order form, and that order form is going to eventually build a file of these kinds of things, and I think we're going to print an invoice as well. First thing we want to do is kind of create some defined names. So from B5 to B13, I want to give them appropriate defined names. So I could do that, right? I could say, come up here to B5, and I could put in, well, it looks like they have some in already. Is yours done?
No. Yeah, they named all the cells.
Yeah, but do you have a drop down in color?
Yeah.
What the hell? Did I give you a solution file here? Let's see. All right, well, yeah, it looks like only parts of it done. Okay, so I don't know why they ask us to do this, and it looks like it's already done. It says in the order form worksheet, create appropriate defined names for each cell in the range, well, B5 to B13. And how I would do that is, it looks like it's already done actually, but I would highlight A5 to B13. And remember the applied names, the name, defined names is under formulas. And there's a create from selection. So what it basically does is says, you know, whatever's on the left column, that name becomes whatever's on the right column. You could also do top row, bottom row, right column. I click OK. And now we should see customer name, address, city, state, zip, telephone, but I thought we already saw that anyway. So anyways, I created defined names for B5 to B13. Step 4, it says create the following validation rules. So if you guys remember validation rules, we're under data tools. Yours might say data validation, but mine looks like this because I don't have as much room. It says in cell B10, the style, I want to create a list of styles that are from the range E2 to E8. So what data validation does that? Well, if I go to data validation and I don't want to allow any value, I only want to allow a list. And when it says a list, I need to determine where that style list is. And the style list is in E2 to E8. And because I have this selected in cell dropdown, it's going to give me a dropdown to do that. It wants us to enter an appropriate input message. So let's do that. I'm going to just say style list. I'm going to say enter an appropriate style. An error alert. We'll just say error we'll say must be from style list. And I'm going to click OK. So now you'll see if we go to style, there's our input box. As we select it, it says our input list, a message, style list, enter an appropriate style. I click on the drop down and I can pull, and it's pulling from over here. It would like us to do the same thing with the wood and the color. Let's do it quickly because we got some other things to get to. So just do it, but don't worry about the input message and don't worry about the error alert. So for wood, I'm going to go to the data validation once again. I'm going to say list, and it looks like there's only two sources, which is the oak and the pine. That's E11, E12. I'm going to click OK. And the color looks like we have a plethora of colors. So I'm going to do data validation, list again, and looks like that was already in there actually, G2 to G12. Okay. Okay. So now we have drop downs for all of those ones that are appropriate. Has us create some input messages. I'm going to skip that as well because I think we know how to do that. In cell B13, it says create a comment that explains the pricing for chairs. All pine chairs are $100 and oak chairs are $150. So comments a little bit different. That is under the review tab. And I can say insert new comment. And it gives it my name because this was installed as the workstation. And it says, it wants to say all pine are 100 and oak chairs are 150. Okay, so now we see a little red, and I have to mouse over that to see the comment that I made. Yeah.
Is there a kind that above mine, instead of workstation, it says SFU?
Mm-hmm. It depends on what the name was given when they installed Excel. So if you install it at home and you put your name as Stephanie, it would show us Stephanie.
So it's okay that it says.
Yes. Yes. It says in cell B13, enter formula, compute the pricing based on the wood selected in cell B11. So the wood selection is oak and pine. So how do we want to do that to put the appropriate price in? How are we going to do that? Because it's different by oak and pine. We need some kind of branching, some conditional logic. We are going to use we're going to use an if statement. Equal, if. We're going to look at B11. If B11 is equal to oak, I'm going to put in here 150, else I'm going to put 100. You could have done it the opposite way. You could have said, because there's only two options, you could have said if B11 is equal to pine, 100, else 150. It should do the same logic. So I hit enter here. I see 150. Let's change it to pine to make sure my conditional is working. It does. You know, oak and pine, 100, 150. It scrolls between those two things. All right. So I know I shorted some of the things, but I don't want to just do redundant work. So we're already at step 9. Okay. And I'm also going to skip step 9 because it talks about inserting word art, which is just stupid. Let's go to step 10. Okay. It says, step 10 says create the following formulas specifying the cell's chair self transfer area. So in A22, I want to bring over the chair name. So I'm going to say equal chair, and I see chair name there. So it's a defined name that makes it easier for me to enter than saying B9. It equal in B22, it wants the style. So I'm going to say equal. I define the defined name style. In C22, it wants the wood type, so I'm going to say equal wood. It brings over oak. And in cell D22, I want the color, so equal, and I find the defined name color. Okay, we didn't fill this out yet, so that's why you see some of these are blank. Okay. It wants us to. It says in cell in 11, it says unlock the input cells, which are in the range B5 to B12. So remember, every cell has a property of locked or unlocked. By default, they're all locked. So I'm going to unlock B5 to B12. Why am I not unlocking B13? Why am I not going to unlock B13? Yeah, it's a formula. They don't have to monkey with that. We will figure that out, right? If they select oak, it goes to 150. If it goes to pine, it's going to go. So I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna go to. I can right-click there, and I can go to Format Cells, and on the Protection tab, I'm going to unlock those cells. Every other cell by default is locked. So every cell by default is locked, but we haven't turned on protection at this point. So it says, step 12, protect the order form and the chair cells worksheet. So I'm going to go up here to review, and I'm going to protect this sheet. And let's not password protect it. And let's only allow them to select unlock cells. Okay, so they cannot select lock cells. It wants me to also go over here and protect the chair cells worksheet. So same thing. I'm going to protect this, and I'm going to only allow them to select unlock cells. So now, if we tab through, I can't select anything other than those cells that I unlocked on the order form. Now in step 13, it gives me some data it wants me to add, so I'm going to do so. I'm going to say, let's see, Glenn Cole. The address is 1044 Sycamore. I'm just going to put in some data. Loretto, PA, 15940. Telephone, 814. That says telephone, email. Let's give it a G. Let's say xxx@gmail.com. The chair name is Amanda, apparently. And the style, let's do a rocking child. Let's say it's oak, and it wants a purple color. Okay, so I don't care, just get data in there. I don't care exactly what the data is. By the way, you guys know we're going to Gmail? You guys excited about that?
I wish I did it before this semester started.
Yeah, I wish they did it 7 years ago, but they didn't. So I'm just glad it's happening because group-wise, it's awful.
They're changing the swipe.
What's that?
Yeah, I feel like they can swipe.
Oh, wow, why is that?
Because if they're gonna change it so that I don't have to swipe in, I just.
Get near.
Dan.
Oh, okay. Like get near.
They get near it.
Yeah, okay.
Are you able to keep your Gmail account then after?
That hasn't been decided.
I mean, because there are people that are going to graduate this semester with Francis Gmail.
Yeah, you should be able to because it's not on our servers, it's on
Yeah,
Google
it's on
servers.
Google
Right.
server, so I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. You should be able to keep it, but I don't know. All right, so let's save the workbook right now because we're going to start creating macros. So I'm going to save it on my desktop and just call it chairs.xls. And you save it somewhere as well. So the first macro it wants me to create, this is step 15 by the way, is create a macro called print order with a shortcut key Control O that does the following. So let's go up to the developer tab. Let's click on record macro. We are going to call this print order. And the control is, the shortcut key is Control O. I could put, I'm going to store it in this workbook. And I could write a description for this, but I'm not going to do that. I click OK, and now it goes into record mode. You see the little square indicates that I'm being recorded right now, the actions I do. It says set the order form print area to the range A1C20. So A1 so we're going to have to do something first. We're going to have to, I can't select A1. Why can I not select A1? It's locked. So this is being recorded, by the way. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the data, the review tab. We're going to unprotect the sheet. Then I'm going to select A1 to C20. C20, John. A1 to C20. I'm going to go to page layout. I'm going to say set that as the print area. I'm going to set the orientation to landscape. It looks like it already was landscape. And it wants me to center the print area horizontally. So I'm going to go to margins, go to custom margins, and under margins, click the horizontal centering box. Click OK. It wants me to export this as a PDF, so I'm going to say File, Export, Create PDF, and put it in a folder that you, on your C drive somewhere. I'm going to put mine in just Module 6 files, and I'm going to call it chairs.pdf. And I'm going to click Publish. It's going to show me that, what I did. And it says return the worksheet to its original state. So in my case, what should I do to return the worksheet to its original state?
Lock it.
Okay, I'm first going to, very good, I'm going to clear the print area. And I'm going to go up to Review, and I'm going to re-protect the sheet. And then I'm going to stop. Let me X out of this thing, the PDF that was open. So if I go to my developer tab and I go to macros, I should have a print order macro. Let's just change this. So we're going to change this from Amanda to John, and let's make it a pine, and let's make it, I don't know, orange. Okay. So let's try running it. So I'm going to go to macros. I'm going to run print order. Okay, there, create my PDF. I go back. Let's make sure my worksheet is still protected. Yes, it's still protected. So it unprotected it, made those changes, and protected it at the end. Okay. Now a couple things, and I think we mentioned this last class. So if I run this again, okay, because this is open, and I try running again, so I'm going to do Control O this time to run it. I get an error. Why did I get an error? We saw this last time. Why did I get an error? It's already open, so it you know, when you try to overwrite a file that's open, it says, hey, this is open, you can't be doing this. So I'm going to end this. And it's probably a silly way to do it. We probably wouldn't want to save every order as the same damn name, right? That doesn't make sense. So I think last class, Ego's not here, but he suggested, hey, let's make that a variable, right? So, you know what a variable is in programming, something that changes? So let's go into the code. Let's go to Developer tab, and let's go to View Code. And under Modules, Module 1, this is everything we did. And we don't have to understand every line of code to be able to change this to what we want. So if we look at this, you know, it says, all right, we unprotected the worksheet. We selected range A1 to C20. We made that the print area. You can see some of the things we've done here. You know, we centered the damn thing. We made the, you know, and here's where we're exporting it, right? So you see it's building, we're exporting it to, in my case, to C users workstation desktop module 6 files chairs.pdf. So every time it's making it the chairs.pdf. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I want to create this so it changes. Every time I export it, I get a new name. Okay, and what do you think? Let's go back to our spreadsheet. What do you think it makes sense to make this PDF name? Do you see anything here that makes sense to make the PDF name? Yes. What's that?
Order form.
Order form. But if we create order form every time, we're going to have the same issues. The name is chairs.pdf, orderform.pdf. Yes. Sure, right? Let's say, okay, this is, you know, maybe glenco.pdf or, yeah, I'm going to have to do something.
You said it's a customer name.
That's what we're going to try to do, yeah.
But, well, like the cell name is customer name, so if you set it to the cell name, wouldn't it pick up whatever name is in there?
Right. So that's what we're going to try to do. So let's go into, and hopefully this will work. So let's go back to our source code. Oops. Let's go back to our source code, view code. Go to module 1. And the first thing I need to do is create a variable. Okay. And this is something, I'll teach you more of this later. But let's go to the top of this subroutine. And the way we define a variable, and a variable is like a holding place that changes, is we use this command, dim, and then we give it a name. So I'm going to say my file name as. So we give it a name, so we're defining an integer or a variable as my file name, and we need to give it like what kind of data is going to go in you. So I'm going to say string data. So you see that string? A string is like a text character. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it can be numeric, it can be decimal. We're saying string. So I define this up. So this is kind of like a bucket, a holding place. Do you guys know what I'm saying? And we're going to put something in it. So let's go down here before we. Let's go right here before we, after this end with, before we save this thing. So I'm going to say my file name, which is that variable, is equal to the range, whoops. What cell was that customer name in? B5. Okay, so follow me here. All we've done is create a little bucket called my file name, and we took whatever the heck it finds in B5, the value for B5, just puts it in there. Says put that file name in. Does that make sense? So right now it should be in there. Glenco should be in there. So now down here, where I build this name, right? I still want to save it in C users workstation desktop module 6 files, but I want to put in as a name, I want to put glenco.pdf. So this is a string. So here's what I'm going to do. After the slash, I'm going to put a double quote. I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to put an ampersand. I'm going to put my file name, ampersand, .pdf. And let me show you what this is doing. It's saying, I'm going to build, where I say this, and this whole damn thing is a string that ends here, is going to be C users, workstation, desktop, 106 files. And I'm going to add to that string my file name, which is going to be the Glencoe, and then .pdf. So this ampersand, did I show you guys that before? That's like string concatenation. You guys know what concatenation means? Like putting two things together, like a string addition. You know what I'm saying? So it's building the path name this way. I think we're good. So, all right. So let's X out of here. And let's make this one word because I might have problems with the space. I'm not sure. So let's make the customer name, I don't know, Miko customer. And no spaces, just Miko customer. And then do Control O. And when it built in my module 6 data files, it built it as MikoCustomer.pdf. If I go back, and this time, I don't know, let's say it's Steve and it's Braswell customer, and he orders something different altogether. I don't know, he goes with the child and oak. And I Control O now. You see in module 6 files, it built Braswell customer.pdf. You guys see what I'm saying here?
I tried one with the space too, it worked.
So you did like,
I just added a space between
yeah, I didn't.
customer and it worked.
Okay, so if we went back to our friend Glenn Coe, wasn't he the name we used earlier? And I Control O. Okay, built Glenn Coe. Module 6 data files. And there's Glenn's PDF. Okay, so you see how we can interface, like we're capturing that name from the Excel spreadsheet. Now, what if two customers have the same name? And we're not going to do this, but what if two customers have the same name? Like, and that could happen, right? My college roommate was Bob Smith, right? Awful name. There's a million of you, right? But anyways, what if a customer has the same name? You're going to get that error, right? The user's going to get that error. Oh my good, Bob Smith, right? Already exists. You know, it's going to get an error. So what could you do to make it unique besides just using Bob Smith? Come on, think.
Middle initial.
There's a lot of Bob J. Smiths. What changes every second of every day. So it's always unique. Yes? Sure.
And I have something wrong with my service too.
All right, let me finish this thought.
All right.
Tangential on it. So if you put the customer name, and then after the customer name, you put what? The date and the timestamp. You ever see something like that's always going to be unique. So there's a Bob Smith that made an order from us today, and maybe the same damn Bob Smith order tomorrow. Well, you know, he could order twice, so we want the same. That would make it unique. In fact, you know, kind of interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to you, but when I record lectures in this class, they get uploaded to an O drive, right? So it's an MP4, like these lecture captures, and they go to the O drive under a folder called lecture capture, And the way that those are stored is, so Schwab room 202, and then every folder is the date and time that the recording stops. So that's how you know, like if I want to look at, this was what's today's date? Yeah, so yesterday at 9:30, this is going to be my lecture capture from stats. You know what I'm saying? So it uses that same methodology to create that uniqueness. Does this make sense? Yes? Okay. So let's hold on that. And I'm sorry, Brad, you had a question.
Yeah, like it's not really where we added it. I don't know why it's not highlighted.
So you forgot a double quote after PDF. So you're putting three strings together. With the path, the file name, and .pdf. You didn't have a double quote there. Does that make sense? To end it. I just put it after the PDF. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's the issue. Huh?
No, it's still saying. Should I delete this other thing? Is that highlighted this thing?
See this, what you didn't have, Brad? You did have a quote here, which you should have had that double quote there. But then also, you see this, you guys see this symbol here? This underscore? That's telling it to continue on the next line.
Okay.
So you didn't have that continuation, and now it's no longer red, now it's black.
Okay.
Maybe there's something. Okay. So that is our first macro we built. It wants us to build a couple other macros. So it wants to create a macro. So let's create another macro. So we are going to record macro, and we're going to call this one add cell. And it's going to get a Control S. Okay, so Control S. And I'm going to click OK. So now I'm in record mode. I'm going to unprotect this sheet. I'm going to highlight A22 through D22. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to the chairs cells worksheet. I'm going to unprotect that. I'm going to select A1 in the chair cells worksheet. And I'm going to do Control down arrow. It should take me to the last row. In the Developer tab, I want to check use relative references. I want to hit the down arrow to go down one row. I'm going to turn off use relative references. I'm going to why'd my paste go away? You guys go away too? Yeah, damn it. All right, so stop this. That's the problem when you record a macro. And let's go to Developer tab. And go to Macros. Let's delete Add Sale. Yes. Let's turn on protection on both of these again. So that we put it back to where it was. All right, so both are protected. Let's start this again. I think I don't know why this mattered, but it wanted me to go to the chair sales worksheet first. So let's do developer record macro. Once again, we're going to call this add sale. Give it Control S, click OK. It says go to the chair sales worksheet first and unprotect the sheet. Go to the order form, unprotect the sheet. Take A22 through D22 and copy. Return to the chair sales worksheet. Select A1. Control down arrow. Check use relative references. Down arrow. Uncheck use relative references. Paste. Let's turn back on data protection. So I'm going to go to Review, Protect Sheet, click OK. Go to Order Form, Protect Sheet. OK. And select D5. Excuse me. And click Stop. So let's see. Chair sales. John Child Oak Orange is our last one. Everything is protected. Let's do another one. So I'm going to call chair name, I don't know, XXX. Love seat, and we'll do white. Now if I do Control S, run my macro, hopefully when it's done, why did it add it twice? It added it twice so we're on 16 and 17, let's go back. Change that to YYY. Let's go to animal. Red. It has something to do with that relative references, I think. All right, I got to look into that. Let's leave that alone for now. Let's create one more macro. Okay, one more macro, and then we'll have to fix that one because there's something a little bit funky with that. We want to record another macro called clear order input. So go to the order form, go to the developer tab, click record macro, and we want to call this one clear. Just leave it as is right now, because we're not going to have to do anything with protection on this one. But it should be protected at the end of that last macro, so it should be protected right now. Okay, so call this one clear order input, and give it a control, let's say Z. And click OK. All it wants us to do is select B5 to B12, hit the delete key, and then make B5 the selection. And then stop. So if we enter data in here,
when do we stop recording that macro?
after you select B5.
Okay, so after we delete everything?
Yep, that's all this one does is deletes the input area.
Okay.
So I just added everything into the input area. If I do Control Z, all it does is clear out the input area. Does yours work?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it wants us to we're 19, so go to, we're in the order form, go to the review, unprotect the sheet, and it wants us to create buttons for all three of the macros. So, command buttons. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to insert, and I'm going to click on the form control for the button. And this first one, I'm going to use the print order. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to double click on the text and say print.
My insert is gray.
Did you unprotect the sheet first?
Yeah.
You did?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
And then what do you press after you do insert?
You're on the developer tab,
Right. And then I was inserted in the one.
and under form controls, the one that's a little rectangle.
Okay.
So you click that, that's a button,
Right.
and then it makes an X and you can draw the button.
Okay.
So the first one we assigned a print area. I'm going to draw another button. And this one I'm going to assign to add cell. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to change the button text to add cell. And I'm going to create a third button. And we'll assign it to clear order input. I'm going to change the text to clear. And I'm going to, oops. That's because I don't have anything in my file name. So now I should be able to use these buttons that I should have made nicer to kick off my macros. We'll fix that add cell. There's something with the relative references not working. I'm gonna have to debug that. So I think we talked about this last time. If we do the same 3 actions after every time we put in a record, it's kind of a pain in the butt for the user to click print, click add cell, click clear, right? So what we could do, let's just put some data in here. Better name. Name doesn't exist. Let's go to the source, or I'm sorry, the view code. And this is our subroutine print order, right? And think about a subroutine, it's like a block of code that does something. Well, at the end of this, I could say, hey, after I'm done printing it, what I'd like to do is add the cell. So instead of forcing them to go and click that button, I can say, in this subroutine, and the command is call, add cell. So what this will do, and that will come up kind of in programming here, this will say, after I'm done here, go ahead and do add cell. So it'll go down here and do add cell and complete. It'll go from perform to end. And then what the hell, I can put call clear order input. So basically when I execute the print, it's going to do the other 2 things as well. Does that make sense? So if I built this as an application, what I'd want to do is I'd want to give the person 1 button to hit, right? Just say, okay, register, done. And it does the printing, the transferring of the data, and also clears the input. Does that make sense? And probably should put up a message box. What the hell, let's do it. Let's put a message box that says cell registered, I don't know. So now anytime I click the print, which I would probably change to register, but if I click print, let's change this because I can't remember where I left it, but I'm going to put all Z's there. Click print, okay, it creates that. It also cleared, it also added chair cells down here. Yeah, it looks like I screwed something up. But anyways, I didn't have those zeros.
Dr. Newcomb, mine just completely stopped working and it went away and now I have a blank work.
You have what?
It's deleted.
Ah, we'll find it. It didn't quite work the way I wanted. But anyways, save this, okay? And remember when we save it, we're going to have to save it as what?
Macro node.
Yes, because now we have macros embedded in this thing. Let's save it as a macro embedded workflow. And just save what you have, even if it's not working exactly right. We'll take a look at it on Friday, and we'll try to fix cure whatever you have issue with right now. I don't know why I got zeros here. It's almost like it cleared it before it transferred it, but I clearly transferred before I cleared, so I'm not sure what's going on now. Here, I'll look at what you have.